Dear friends, my name is Jonathan Awasom, and I am the founder and the author of Fountain of Love. I've been sharing, some very deep personal thoughts with you in the past months, and it is because of my very strong and deep, belief in spreading, positive energy in the world. Sharing, you know, um, our thoughts about how we see the world. Every person, I believe, has a worldview, as a unique and very specific lens through which we look at the world, how we perceive, the world, our relationship with one another, and our perception, of different things. And that itself informs the way that they react in terms of the decisions and the choices we make, whether it is in politics, whether it is in social life, in cultural life, in relationship with other nations, or even in relationships, you know, um, back, in the family with our wives, with children, with our, boyfriends and girlfriends. So a worldview is a lens through which you look at the world, and it embodies a set of beliefs, of values, a system of beliefs and values, that they become very crucial, to you in terms, of the decisions and the choices you make. So I believe very strongly, that fountain of love, is a bedrock, as a platform. It's a bedrock, for my existence. It's a platform for me because, love is the bedrock, of our humanity. It's the bedrock of our relationship. We share a common humanity with the rest of mankind, with the rest of humankind, rest of womankind. And it's important for us to always remember that when we look at our fellow man, we look at our fellow woman, we see a fellow human being. And so there is that need for us to think about it, that do I have and generate the necessary, empathy that is required in order, to uphold, to acknowledge the presence and the right of another person to exist. That's why from the get go, I said that we cannot change the world with hate. If we want to become agents of change and instrument of change in the world, we have to think seriously about our attitude. We can only change the world, through righteous indignation tempered with love, mercy, and with wisdom. Righteous indignation is right because it is natural for us to be angry. But how we use that anger, how we channel that anger, into a good end really matters. Because remember that the person who has wronged you, those who perpetuate the injustice, the hate, the violence, the abuse, the violation of human rights, those who do those things, who engage in those vices, their modus operandi is to make you angry. So you don't want to prove to them that you are a victim of anger. You want to prove to them that you are an agent, of love, of peace, an agent of understanding, of communication, of dialogue, of diplomacy. And so that's why I strongly believe that no matter how, we have been hurt, no matter how painful it is, no matter how we believe that we have been wrong, that we need, to believe, we need to acknowledge that within us there is righteous indignation. Because if you are not angry, if you are not angry at injustice, at oppression, at intolerance, at racism, at abuse, if you are not angry at exploitation, at something that is going wrong in your family, in your relationship, in your society, then you are not a natural human being. It is natural, but what I am suggesting is that we need to temper that anger with love, mercy, grace, and wisdom. That is the most effective way that I believe that we can bring about, change in the world. We have to come to the table of change, of transformation, with the same passion that people with negative energy exude and espouse. They espouse the negative energy and they're very passionate, they're very enthusiastic. So we ought not to be silent. We have to rise up and to approach the world, with love, with understanding, with wisdom, with mercy, with grace, with the same passion, with the same enthusiasm, with the same energy. Because if we are quiet, then those with negative energy, they will conquer us. And we will walk around, be intimidated and bullied and subdued by fear. But we really know that if our worldview is to be under God's sovereignty, we know that God has overcome fear, has overcome hatred, has overcome, intolerance, and that we are only vehicles. We're only vehicles in God's hand. We're only instruments of peace. And so let us step out. Let us step out of our comfort zone. You might think that the only thing that we need to change the world is to put on the tallest buildings, the skyscrapers, or to get the best aircraft, or to get, to send the largest amount of money into somebody's bank account. No, words, the spoken words, the language that people use out there in the world, the words that people use matter. And we have to come in and begin to pump some positive energy into the negativism that it has polluted our world and our society. And hopefully that will translate into the necessary synergy that we need to cultivate in order to enhance a much more loving and caring community. This is a season of peace and goodwill towards all people. And I'll be back again. And this is Jonathan Awasom for Fountain of Love.